What is up, guys? Today I am going to finally try something that I don't get to do much nowadays, which is stream in the mornings and see how life treats me. And today I'm going to share that one story that I said to you guys 2 days ago already that I would share about something that happened to me that absolutely infuriated me. Well, what had happened was I am one of those human beings who has the toughest time getting up on her days off early and being productive. Well, on this particular morning, I was able to be up and running at least by 10:20ish. I cannot remember exactly, which is pretty much toward the end of the morning. But for me, it was a big accomplishment. So I said, you know what, let me go to a side of town that I don't frequent, and there's a bakery there that we have two of those in town, but I never go to this other one. So I said, let me just go out there, venture, and re experience what it's like to be on that side of town in the morning. So I go out there. And my experience in the bakery itself was pretty shitty. Let's just call it what it is. It was shitty because, first of all, there was one lady on the counter. That same lady was the person ringing up people, and that same lady was the one packing stuff off or stuff up for people to take with them. And the phone was ringing as well. So this was someone who had like four responsibilities going on at the same time. And I'm like, you're not thinking about calling for backup? I didn't say this, but in my mind, I'm like, you're not thinking about calling for backup? Are you by yourself? Do you not have a manager? Are you the manager? If you're the manager, why are you not looking for someone? Or why are you even running the show when you're not prepared for this, you know? So, anyway, four people are ahead of me. They get taken care of. It's my turn. I ask for my thing that I want to get, which usually it's like a little piece of pastry. And usually the way it works is if you go get it on a particular day, then you don't get charged for it. And I said, I'm craving this thing. I happen to be craving it. So let me go ahead and get it. And that particular day, they did not have another thing I was looking for, which is a brownie of some sort. And I said, you know what? This is going to be it. This is the only thing I'm going to get. So I asked the old lady on the counter to wrap it up for me and put it in a bag. And she starts rambling, talking nonsense. She goes, well, this is not something that we regularly do. I'm not supposed to do this. This is supposed to be something that you just take immediately as is. We were wrapping it up out of courtesy, but if I start wrapping it up for everybody, given the line, it's starting to back up. And immediately at that point, I'm just like burying my face into my hand. And then, she kept talking, and I just listened. And when she finally finished her story and handed me my little pastry, I was like, thank you. And then I walked out. Just take care of the customer. All you have to do is take care of the customer. So after that, I go to the store next door. I was looking for a replacement litter pan for Dusty because the one that he has, I was cleaning it one day and I grabbed it wrong, and then I broke one edge of it. So he needs a new pan. And because I know that he likes that, that's what I was looking for. So that's why I went to the store next door, which is another store out of 10 of those that we have in town or something. But if it's right next door, why would I not go to that one? So, hey, Garuda. So, anyways, I go there. I find what I'm looking for. I am impressed that this store is better stocked than any of the others that I had visited. And, I'm just contemplating everything. But at that point, I'm ready to go. I go to the register. There's only two registers open, and they both have about the same amount of people in it. Eventually, a third register opens, and there is this one man who is just talking to some of the guys. And they're pretty loud too, like obnoxiously loud. And then I'm thinking nothing of it, loud people don't bother me. I'm surrounded by them daily. But what irritated me the most was that when the third register opened, there comes this guy and he stands behind me and he goes at my shoulder, my right shoulder. He goes like this. Like he squeezes it really like he was pressing on it. And I turn around and I'm like, "What?" And then he goes, "I just wanted to let you know that that register is open." And I said, "This is fine." And what bothered me was that you're touching me. You are touching me. And it infuriates me when people I don't know, strangers, people I'm not comfortable with, it makes me physically angry. So because I was in public and it was somewhere that, there was a lot of people, I don't want to cause a scene, but at the same time, you have done something that I consider to be disrespectful. And all I wanted to do was be like, "Hey man, do you know of this amazing power that we have called hearing? This sense in which you can interpret vibrations in air, like in any production of sound movement. We have these organs, membranes, that are able to interpret that info to where you do not need to be touching someone. All you had to do was lean or somewhere close to me, just get close to me, like near enough to where you can get my attention and be like, 'Excuse me, ma'am, this register has opened.' Or better yet, say it to the people in front of me, because there were people in front of me, so therefore they should have the right of going over to the next register. There were two people ahead, so you have to get to the person, not immediately the person who's next in line, but the person behind the next person immediately next in line. Tell them that the register opened, because it's technically their turn. But no, you had to come over to me, put your filthy hands on me. I don't know why, but if I had to piece it together, everyone who was there, because it's a weekday, everyone young is working, and I just so happened to be off that day. Maybe you come over to me and bother me because I'm the young girl or something. I don't want to think that that's the kind of person that you are, but just know that you cannot be doing that. You cannot be going up to people and touching them for no good reason. The only time it should be acceptable for you to consider touching someone is if you are about to save their life. And me standing in a lane where there's no fire, there's nothing happening, no storm, my life is not in danger, don't touch me. So it just bothered me because after that, I'm like, keep it together, don't say anything. It's no big deal. I'm not hurt. It's no big deal. But at the same time, I hated it. I wanted to be like, all you have to do is say that the register is open. You do not need to tap me on the shoulder. You don't need to touch me. I can hear you. You never attempted to say, "Excuse me, ma'am, that register is open," or like any normal human ever who I have encountered says that. They go like, "Ma'am, that line is open if you want to step over." That is what everyone normally do. They don't go all up on me and try to touch me. They don't. So that's you being a fucking weirdo. So, anyways, I leave. My experience is over, or so I thought. I go to my car. And I feel like this guy was also in that store, and he was the one on the receiving end of the loud speaking of this tap guy. Let's call him the tap guy. And, anyways, I'm already like pretty crispy about what happened, and I'm sitting in my driver's side, and then here comes this guy, and he happens to do one of the things that I hate the most, which is you tapping on glass. Like the glass in cars, I don't know what it is about that sound, but sometimes mom rides with me and she will sometimes point at something and go like, I hate that. Maybe because it makes me feel like there's debris hitting my window and maybe creating some kind of a fracture on it. I don't know how to describe it. I just know that I hate that sound. So here comes this man. This man wears a white hat. And he like knocks on my window. Knock, knock, knock. And I'm already like upset because he happens to look somewhat similar to the guy that I just dealt with. So I'm like, what if this person is unrelated and they genuinely need help, or maybe they are alerting me that there's something wrong with my car. Because in the past, I have been at a red light and a guy who was behind me stepped out of his car and he said, "Excuse me." And then he shut the cap, or not the cap, but the lid of my gas tank. And I turned around and I was like, "Thank you. How did I miss that?" I would have caught it eventually, because I will use that mirror and I can see the side of my car. But at least he saved me the trouble of me having to pull over somewhere to just close my lid. So that, I loved it. I was like so grateful for that guy. Initially, it scared me because I'm like, what is this guy doing in the middle of a busy traffic, coming over to. But he was so proper about it. He was like, "Excuse me," and he kept a distance. He stretched his hand, just shut my lid, and that was it. I was happy. He saved my day. Let's move on with our lives. But this guy comes over, knocks on my window. I crack it open and I keep my fingers in that little thing where you hold to pull the door closed when you step into a car, whatever that's called. Anyway, that. And I leave my hand like that, like I leave it placed. And this motherfucker goes like, "Hey, I just wanted to say that you're cute." And I'm like, "Thanks for the compliment." And then he tries to pull open my door. Yes, he pulled it open. And then my fingers went like that. And I'm like, thank God that my instinct is to never trust anybody. And I kept my fingers there. And then immediately, I tightened the grip and I go like, "This is fine." Like, I was furious. How dare you attempt to open my car door? But I was furious. I was like, "This is fine." And then he was like, "I just want to know your name." Like, he slides his hand between the crack of, let's call it the crack that I had open my door, to be able to hear him better so that he doesn't have to shout or sound muffled because my car is sealed. And he slides his hand for me to shake it. And I'm like, "I'm fine, thank you." And then he's like, "Oh, you have no name. Well, you have a good day. I ain't no stranger." And I'm like, "If you ain't no stranger, you would know my name. Leave me alone." So that, when it all happened and I left while I was driving, I was so furious. I had to call somebody. I told the story to my brother and I told another friend. And then I told my boyfriend after the shift ended, and my boyfriend was definitely not cool with the part of me saying he tried to open my door. But but then as I'm processing everything, I'm like, what the hell did just happen? Did I escape something? Because it really sounded like one of those stories of, you may be observed, followed, and someone may try to do something. And it's not like I live my life in fear. I know that it's a real thing because I have read stories, and some of my colleagues who would not lie have told me that they have been at red lights and someone who is very clearly under influences of, say, drugs or something, they have come over and being really close to the car and touched it and stuff. And they were like, "I'm so ready to run over this person because, I'm by myself. It's toward nighttime." And that's why I say, man, that's why I do not want to work the night shift, because it's already difficult to see at nighttime, but even more difficult is when you have trouble seeing at nighttime. My trouble is not severe to where I need to wear those little yellow lenses, but eventually it may get to that point. And I said to myself, I do not need to be A, young, B, alone, C, female at night by myself, and being at red lights in places that I cannot avoid crossing through, that I would like to avoid crossing through. So anyway, you know how I am. I think about everything critically, and I'm thinking maybe these were completely harmless people, but they're just awkward about shit. But the best part about it is that there happened to be an old lady sitting right across from my car, because I was at the very front of the establishments. And there were some tables there since I had gone to this bakery, and they have a sitting area outside. So this lady saw the whole thing. Would she say something, come forward, vouch for me if something happened? I don't know. I don't care. Nothing happened. But at the same time, I would like to know that she would have liked to have gotten involved just for the sake of there being justice or corroborating my story. But I'm pretty sure that there's 700 cameras everywhere too, so people know that I'm not crazy. This guy tried to open my door and I kept it shut. But again, if you want to tell something to someone, do not invade their personal space, and especially don't make it an uncomfortable situation, because I cannot believe that you do not have enough sense to know that what you're doing is not right. It's just not. And assuming that this guy was also in the store, I'm pretty sure that he saw my angry face. Maybe he wants to be like, hey, I know my friend fucked up, but here I am. I want to make you feel better. I'm going to give you a compliment. It's genuine. You don't need to feel like I'm trying to pick you up or something. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Tell me I'm cute when my boyfriend's with me. See what happens, you know? Or, I'm not trying to like instigate things happening, but I'm pretty sure that you would not like to know that your girl is being like, someone's trying to pick up your girl. So just don't do that. You can't be doing that. You always need to assume that this person is not available for you and get to know them better. And it was weird to me that you're just trying to take those steps, like, I think you're cute, I want to know your name, and want to immediately shake my hand. No. At that point, you're super suspicious, especially if you're coming to me at a parking lot. Fortunately, I was toward the front, and there was a car next to me, so the space between us was pretty narrow anyway, but at the same time I hated that close proximity. So anyways, you guys, those are my stories. And be honest with me, do you think I exaggerated, or do you think that this person was completely in the wrong and it's just an individual thing? And I say individual because there's people out there who are fine with people being all up in their business, with people being all over what is deemed as personal space. But for me personally, I wasn't raised like that. And I physically feel discomfort when I feel like I don't have space to like breathe. Unless you are a family member, boyfriend, close friend, or colleague, and you know who you are, who would fall under that category, or you are a good Samaritan about to save my life, don't touch me. All right? Until we officially meet and I don't know, something happens and you know that we're tight. Even if we're tight, do not assume that I would be okay with touch unless I'm usually the first one to make the move. The comfort move. If you're having a bad day, you're down, I may go for the little rub on the shoulder, test the waters, because I am someone who, I like to comfort people, but I like for it to be my move when it comes to the touching part. And it is very rare that I touch someone. Usually it's if you're already crying, that's when I go for it, because I know that you're looking for comfort at that point. But just touching people just for the sake of touching people, no, never. So guys, I am going to catch up with the comments, and after that I need to run. Good morning, art student. Hey, if your name is art student, let me know what kind of art you do. I'm curious. If you're actually into art, because I do a little bit of it. I haven't done anything in like 3 years, which I hate. But yeah, I tend to be a little artsy myself. Where I am from, it is normal for people to touch you as a stranger. And see, I understand that. I know that there are cultures are out there that are like this, because there's some folks, especially folks from Latin America, or say, I don't want to say all European people, because I don't have enough experiences with folks from Europe, but my experience with the Latin American community is that once you start visiting them, like at their homes or something, they want to go in for like the hug and kiss on the cheek. And I'm like, I can see why that is warming and comforting and everything, but some people just ain't designed for that, like for me, that's not something I enjoy. And when it comes to everyone else, I really haven't seen anyone else doing that. Like anyone in my social circle, that doesn't happen. But I think it may be something from other cultures that are maybe more family oriented, because from what I gather, uh, Latin America is really like that, like really conservative with family values or something. So they give you the treatment of everyone in my town is my friend. So they go for hugs and kisses and stuff. And if it were up to me, I wouldn't mind living in a society like that. But because that is not my life, when I see that, I think it's weird. I think it's invasive. But when someone tries to explain it to me and I immerse myself into what they're telling me, I'm like, I can see how that's good because psychologically, touch is good, touch is nice. That kind of nurturing, it is amazing. But if that's not what you're used to, when you see that for the first time, or better yet, when someone puts you on the receiving end of that, it is very uncomfortable. There was this guy. Now, this guy, I think he's weird, and everyone has accounts of him being weird. He is from somewhere in South America. And then one time we were hanging out, and he said, well, I would like for this time us greet each other with a hug and a kiss. And I'm like, no, and don't touch me. It is okay for us to hang out, but I don't want to be doing all that touching and all that mess. No. And what bothered me the most is that when we were done hanging out and we were dismissing each other, he fucking went for it. The hug and the kiss on the cheek. And I was upset because I'm like, what part of I said don't touch me do you not understand? And even if it's my birthday and you want to give me a hug, it may be appropriate, but it really depends on what mood I'm in and who you are. And even the people I'm tight with, it sometimes it catches me off guard if they want to come over for a hug, and I just open up because I know they're friends, and I gotta remember, okay, you're a harmless person and I love you and this and that. But just for someone who is not cool with being touched, if someone at any moment ever in their lives says, do not touch me, please respect that. Do not try to force your affection onto someone, because that will breed resentment. And that is what I feel for this person nowadays. I avoid them like the plague. And they're not a bad person from what I know about them, my experience hanging out with them. Not bad people at all. But because you violated something that I had established, now I cannot help but associate you with someone who is just annoying. And it's been years of this happening. Like, they tried to come over and be like, hey, are you mad at me? Why don't we talk anymore or hang out like we used to? Yes, I'm mad at you because you did the very thing I implored you not to. And I am sorry, but you are in the United States and that's not what we do here. If someone says don't touch them in this country, you don't touch them. So maybe you ain't used to that, because like this is a somewhat older person. So I'm not sure how long they've been living here, but they're older. Maybe you're still very accustomed to your customs, but I am sorry, you are here now. You can't be doing that. And so maybe one day I'll give this person a chance to make it right. But because I know that you were perfectly old and mature and understanding and comprehensive of my rules, and you decided to, let your culture get in the way or something, when I told you that I had issues with some aspects of it, then that means we're not compatible. We don't need to be friends. We don't need to be hanging out. And I am happy this way. Don't try to change me. So I'm not sure. I'll let you guys know for sure if this changes. It's one of those things that I wouldn't forget to make a topic about it because it's something that stands out. But it is very unlikely that I will give this person a chance to make it right. It's just, I don't see how, what part of that wasn't clear. But anyways, I'll let you guys know. I like the way you express your opinions. Thank you. Why didn't he just say, excuse me, miss, that other line is open? Yes! That's what I'm saying. You guys are normal. You guys get it. I'm pretty sure that everybody here, if we did not know each other, let's say that you guys don't know what I look like, who I am, whatever, I'm pretty sure that all of you in here would be like, or maybe Garuda, maybe I imagine you being that guy who maybe you go up to the person, especially if it's an older person who may have trouble hearing. Maybe you'll lean over to them, place like a palm on their back or something, and be like, "Ma'am, that line is open over there." And they'll be like, "Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Garuda. This and that. Can you help me push my cart?" I don't know. Like, societies like that are nice. Those are people who are genuine. You are good with people. You got good people skills. In your community, it is understood that that behavior is acceptable. Touch is part of your day to day. But at least here, I'm pretty sure I'm not a weirdo. I'm not the only one who's like, I wouldn't be tight with people touching me. Like, most of the people I ever had a conversation with when I was in school, and I would bring up the topic of touching, mostly everybody would say that they wouldn't be cool with a stranger touching them. It's just not the way we are raised. So, but seriously, just speak to the person. And if it's something extremely urgent and they have headphones on, maybe try to go for like something of a little bit of a tap, like a light pat. But do not fucking like try to bury your finger on someone's shoulder like this guy was doing. I mean, it was palpable. Like, it was strong enough for my shoulder to like move and like for me to move. And whereas a pat, you don't go anywhere. But when someone goes like that, you move. It bothers me. It bothered me. But yeah, you can't be going around touching people. What the fuck? That is a creepy guy. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that is a crazy story. Crazy story. It was so crazy. I couldn't believe it happened. And that's why, to avoid me possibly, not that I exaggerate stuff for the sake of exaggeration, but I needed to let some time happen because I considered filming about it immediately. But if I film about it immediately, everything is recent, so therefore my emotions are still there. And all I had in my mind was anger. Nothing but anger, 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 anger. And then when I got home and I told my brother, that's when I started to feel better. Like, finally get it off my system. On my way home, I was on the phone with a friend telling them about it. And that helped me calm myself down to be able to drive safely. But when I got home and I told my brother, he was like, and I said, yeah, next time we're definitely going places together because clearly this town is getting polluted by plague. That's crazy. And I don't need to be out there. Anyway, but yeah, it was so crazy and unexpected. I'm not going actively to places where I think crazy people congregate. I'm not that kind of person. I just went there. First, I went to the bakery. I was looking for a piece of sugar, and then this lady was, telling me her story of why she cannot wrap it up for me. And then I go next door looking for a Dusty's litter pan, a replacement. All I gotta do is go to the line, check out, smooth, perfect. But no, this weirdo had to happen. And then I go to my car, my vehicle, my escape. This mother effer comes over. I'm like, well, if it were me, if I needed something, if I needed help, or if my car, like I said, with the lid, the cap for, the gas lid, please do tell me that there is something wrong with my car because my safety is on the line. But if you're just coming over to bullshit, just stay away. All right, stay away. I study ancient and modern art, including music, painting, drawings. Cool. I cannot say that I really explore ancient art like that. I think as ancient as I go is hieroglyphics, but hieroglyphics are actually actively telling a story. Whereas I know any form of art can tell a story, but for me, when I draw something, is because I am trying to put into paper something that I observed that I like. It's not necessarily that I'm trying to conserve a memory. It's more of I don't have a printer, and this is something that I see that I like, and I have time to spare, and I want to do something therapeutical. So let me just whip out a piece of paper and pen and try to draw. By the way, I think you know me. I just changed my account name. I kind of don't remember that because I just do not spend enough time in here, but I have a vague idea. Who are you again? So, yeah, sorry, I don't remember. The best way for me to remember people online is if I, especially here on the channel, is if I see you every day. But there are some folks who used to be around who have done that. They changed their names and they had to completely identify themselves because I just forgot. Um, but maybe you're that ninja guy. Are you the ninja guy? But yeah, I just cannot remember people nowadays, and it also doesn't help that it doesn't help that I'm not here as much anymore. Steve Will, I guess you mean with the blue eyes. Okay, I remember you now. Your, I think your icon used to be like purple or something and it had an S in it. Yeah, I think I remember now. All right, well, good to see you, Steve. Steve, don't this, Steve. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not recognize you this whole time at all. No, I feel terrible because you've definitely been around for a long time. But anyway, thanks for letting me know who you are, and I shall never forget again. All right, guys. Well, I need to bail. I am kind of running late now, but thank you so much for tuning in and for listening to me and for understanding where I'm coming from. I don't necessarily look for people to actively agree with me in everything I say because I know that there's some stuff that is just plain wrong and I need improvement in. But you're not meant to be a perfect person. But I'm so glad that you guys, just like my family and friends, and that one, my best colleague friend who I told the story to, you guys understood perfectly where I'm coming from, and you agree that I am not exaggerating this situation. It is definitely an unacceptable conduct. And you just need to be careful out there with the way you express yourself and be mindful of how people are in the community that you are in. If you are someone foreign, we're not trying to make this place hostile, but you need to be able to get to know what it's like to visit the place that you're getting ready to visit. You cannot expect for the community to adapt to you. We can tolerate you, but we don't need to adapt to you. That's all I gotta say. Have a good day, guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.